Where are they? Asked Jacob, springing into action.
They're at the basketball court.
His roommate's voice was shaking with fear. I'll be right there. Jacob hung up the phone and was about to run down to the court, but Kathy caught hold of his arm before he could do so. What's wrong? She asked. Sam is in the middle of a fight with some of the boys from the basketball team. Jacob blurted. I'm coming with you, Kathy said with resolve. She wanted to ensure Jacob's safety. Jacob didn't want to argue with her. He took off immediately, with Kathy following closely behind him. He felt that Kathy was having a hard time keeping up with him because he was almost sprinting now. Without thinking, he grabbed her hand to make sure she didn't slow him down, or worse, fall. Kathy was surprised when Jacob held her hand and looked at their intertwined fingers. She gulped a little and then looked up to keep running. The sensation of Jacob's warm hand on hers was making her throat dry. However, Jacob was oblivious to all of this. When the court came into view, he let go of her hand and dashed forward. With her heart pounding from the spontaneous run, Kathy stopped for a moment to catch her breath before going in herself. She saw that the court was crowded with people. The noise of fighting and shouting could be heard from a distance. She ran inside. Jacob pushed through the crowd with a force he didn't know he had and rushed to the middle of the court. Kathy was right behind him, and she too made her way through the crowd. In the middle of the basketball court, 5 tall and brawny boys from the basketball team surrounded Sam. Sam was bruised all over. Although he had fallen to the ground, he stubbornly kicked his opponents who were wearing sports jerseys and shorts. Hurt and enraged by his kicks, his opponents began to hit him harder. Stop! A surge of hot blood rushed into Jacob's head. He rushed over and punched the guy who was giving Sam the most vicious kicks in the face. The guy was completely lost in taking out his rage on Sam's face and didn't expect someone to hit him. Unprepared, he received a solid punch planted by Jacob's fist. He fell back 3 steps and his face instantly swelled up. It happened so fast that the others didn't notice Jacob's interference. They kept kicking Sam. Enraged, Jacob rushed into the circle of the fight. Shielding Sam with his body, Jacob grabbed onto 2 ankles, one of each guy, and swung them out. Both of them slammed onto the ground and began to grimace in pain. Sam's eyes widened, astonished by Jacob's strength. Anxious to save his best friend, Jacob stood up and grabbed the other 2 guys by their shirts and swung them out with force. They both were 6 feet tall, and Jacob sent them flying into the air. All the people in the crowd were stunned. Is he Superman? He looks lean and scrawny. Can't believe he just knocked down 5 huge guys from the basketball team in the blink of an eye, they murmured with each other. With a bruise near his left eye, Jacob's roommate was standing in the corner of the crowd, looking stunned. He was 6 feet tall and had tried to help Sam, but was instantly knocked down with the first punch on his face. The other roommate, who was even weaker, was standing beside him. He had tried to break up the fight and was pushed far away by the brawny arm of one of the basketball players. He had called Jacob and asked him to get more help, but he was astonished to see him knocking down all the opponents by himself. How dare you! Eyes wide and red with rage, Jacob shielded Sam with his body and yelled. Jacob had never been this angry in his entire life, but the events of the past few days had made this fight the last straw of his patience. Things had kept getting worse ever since the athletic games. First the bullying, then the rumors, Michael's note, his grandma's health, and now this fight. The fight was proving to be the perfect outlet for Jacob's pent-up frustration. In Kathy's eyes, his actions were extremely courageous. Looking at Jacob, who was red with rage, Kathy, a well-behaved student who hated fights, suddenly found herself excited about the one happening in front of her. It was because Jacob was the one who was landing the punches and emerging stronger. He became even more attractive to her. She was worried about him getting hurt, but also strangely proud of how he was defending his friend so fiercely. Kid, who do you think you are? One of the guys stood up and threw his 6'4" body at Jacob. Seeing the guy rushing toward him, Jacob's rage ignited. He didn't dodge since his buddy Sam was lying at his feet. He simply reached out and caught the huge guy. Their palms collided with each other. It looked like an intense wrestling match. The guy didn't think that Jacob could catch hold of him. He had blamed his fall earlier on his unpreparedness, but now he had no excuses. He tried his level best, but the more he tried to push Jacob away, Jacob pushed back with greater force. The brawny guy was forced to move back 4 steps before crashing onto the ground with his last unsteady step. The breakthrough of the second level gave Jacob a lot of strength, making him feel invincible. Plus, these guys had dared to mess with his best friend, and now they were paying for it, and nothing made him happier. It all seemed to happen in the blink of an eye. The crowd looked at the sudden change of events in disbelief. What just happened? How did he do it? He is so powerful. These were some of the things being discussed in astonishment by the crowd. No one expected this fight to take such a drastic turn. The guy who was just pushed to the ground by Jacob also looked at him in astonishment. This sophomore, who's half my size, pushed me to the ground. He thought, how is this even possible? He tried to get up, but couldn't as he felt a shooting pain in his back. His friends, on the other hand, had recovered from their falls, so they stood back up, more enraged than ever, after getting beaten up by a guy much younger and smaller in size than them. They all went to attack Jacob at once, but he was ready for them. In a flash, he stood up and pushed them away, far enough to get into a fighting stance. He then kicked and punched them one by one, and within a few minutes, all of them were on the ground, bruised and tired. Jacob was the only one left standing. Jacob didn't bother to look at them after beating them to the ground. He bent his back and helped Sam to get up. He finally turned around to look at the bullies, lying there all battered, and spat out, "Don't ever mess with my friends again." The crowd stepped aside and made a path for them instantly. Jacob helped a limping Sam out of the basketball court and toward the dorm building outside the campus. His friends exchanged a look and hurried behind Jacob. The dazzled crowd was left speechless on the basketball court, including Kathy, who had her cell phone in her hand, planning to call her older brother the basketball team captain. He was missing from the scene. One would think a captain would be present to defend his team in situations like this. Looking at the silhouette of the 4 best friends against the setting sun, she was at a loss for words and didn't know what to do next. Jacob finally felt the red-hot rage inside his body cool down as he walked slowly while supporting Sam. The 4 roommates walked to their building in complete silence. 1 was too injured to speak, 2 were stunned, and the last one was just lost in his thoughts.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.